Hello lovely people, and welcome to today's video. I have got a plethora of things to chat away with you today. So I have a little bit of a TBR because we have Summerween coming up on I think it's on the 5th of July. Not gonna lie, I've got a bulk of books to go through because I'm probably just going to be reading like this, or trying to at least, for the duration of the warmer months. I've also got a little bit of a haul of things that I've recently bought, as well as a library book haul, and also some of the TBR is going to be mixed up of owned books and library books as well. So I've got my cup of tea at the ready. I know I'm going to be yapping on quite a bit, so I need to keep a little bit hydrated. And yeah, I think we should jump in with, I think the TBR is probably going to be the longest because I'm going to breeze through some other things too. So I think we'll start off with the books that I've recently purchased in Asda. Okay, starting off with a Lafufu colouring book. This is so cute. It's so much fun. I've already started on a image, the first picture there. I thought it was adorable. These little cursed Lafufu and Labubus are just horrifying in the best way. It's literally like creepy cute, which was all what I was about when I was a teenager, so I couldn't pass this up. And then also in Asda there was I want to say it was two for £9 deal or something like that. So I picked up this magical one that I had been eyeing up. I think I saw it at one of the libraries at work at some point, so I think I might have spotted it there first. But this is Amy Mae Baxter's The Between Worlds B&B, and it looks, oh god, nearly gashed out my eye. It looks absolutely adorable. Look at the colours. I think those sort of shades really melt well together. They're so pretty. I really like that it's got a little blurb on the back from the author of Yinka, Where Is Your Husband, which I keep meaning to read. And to me that's so random because like this is such a magical book, so it makes me wonder like what kind of vibes Yinka, Where Is Your Husband has. So I'm even more intrigued, which is also on my TBR. But anyway, we're following Margot, who is bored. I think she's at her final summer before she graduates from uni. She gets locked out of her home and finds herself at this B&B with a very good looking receptionist called Finn. She thinks everything kind of seems too good to be true, almost too perfect, that she starts wondering if it's magical. Some of the other inhabitants seem a little bit unusual, shall we say, and she starts to think, okay, yeah, this has definitely got to be a magical B&B, but how did I get here? I have not a magic bone within my body. It's a really sweet, cute sounding story. I think it's probably going to give me vibes that I imagine, because I've still yet to read it, that A.T. Qureshi's The Dragon Cafe sort of books would give, that kind of quaint, cozy, adorable aesthetic, and I'm totally here for it. So pick this one up in Asda, and the one to pair along with it is also this gorgeous edition by Caitlin Rozakis. This is Startup Hell, and this sounded like a lot of fun as well. I love the colours on this too, and it had some sprayed edges, which was unusual, I feel, for Asda. I usually see, well, I've come to know that the Works has a lot of their own special editions and sprayed edges and things like that now, but it's not oftentimes that I come across a cool design for a book that I get in Asda. This is also the author of the Grimoire Grammar School, which I feel like I might have picked up a couple of months ago, or I was thinking about picking up, so potentially it can be something that I read back to back. But I also am intending to have one of this as a possible or a hopeful for the Summerween months for the TBR. The author's also written Dreadful. I'll show you the back. I think I definitely recognise that one, and that one is definitely on my TBR, whether physical or not. This one sounds really fun, and I like the idea of like a magical world with like real life grown-up human jobs. And I don't mean in the case of like the more traditional urban fantasy. I guess this could be considered urban fantasy, but when I think of urban fantasy, I've got a very specific like story trope in mind. This seems just kind of like the cozy aesthetic vibes of it. So we're following Morgan, who is at a startup tech business that can't seem to figure out what their product actually is. She hasn't got like any sort of she describes it actually as magical dyslexia. She hasn't got, again, like Margot here, Morgan, interesting, she hasn't got a magical bone in her body, and she is basically just, you know, trying to avoid her demon hunting mother, who's like top of the ranks and just getting on with her life in tech, right? However, her boss, in order to meet that month's targets. He decides to summon a demon to help him surpass this. However, he dies before he sends the demon home. So now Morgan has Luke, this sales demon, a junior sales demon, living on her couch, trying to avoid her mother, who obviously banishes, kills, whatever demons. She's falling for him. She's trying to figure out work life, all that sort of stuff. And it just sounds chaotic and awesome. And I think I'm going to really enjoy this one. So yeah, this is a potential as well for the TBR that I'll actually discuss momentarily. Okay, all right. So basically everything else that I'm going to talk about is in some capacity going to, you know, a potential towards this TBR. Some of the new books that I borrowed from the library recently can also add to that. I keep picking up this tea and I'm not actually drinking it. I think the sensation of me picking it up and then talking and then putting it back down feels like I've had a sip, but I really haven't. Bear with me whilst I drown my sorrows, so to speak. That is delicious. Okay, so I picked up 4 from the library I was covering at recently. This one is a little bit of a wild card for me because I read the first book, I think it's called A Marvelous Light by this author, Freya Marske, and the only bits I liked about it sounds really weird, is the romance and the sex scenes. Like, they were written really well. The relationship romance was really like addictive to read, but I didn't really enjoy anything else about it, and it was kind of like a magical Victorian or Georgian time period, and I know a lot of people absolutely adored that. I think it had a sequel that followed the sister, and they all have some sort of like queer relationship, which awesome, but I just couldn't get aboard of the rest of the story. This is from that same author. This is Cinderhouse, and it's a retelling of Cinderella, and I do believe, well, first of all, I'm hoping that it's going to be queer, but I also, which is fantastic because, as I say, I'm going to be doing these like books throughout the summer periods now. June, currently filming it. It's Pride month, so it makes sense. But just in a general, I loved that aspect of her books when I was reading the first one, right? However, I don't know, I kind of ruled off reading from this author because of that experience, but this is only so tiny. It's a story traditionally that I already know, so it's a retelling, and I'm a bit more freer with retellings. I'm like, yeah, cool, do what you kind of want with it. So I am curious to see how this will go. I don't know, it's got some good authors on the back that I've enjoyed or on my TBR that, you know, I think have good creditability, I guess you could say. Oh my god, it says at the very top, a queer gothic Cinderella retelling. So yeah, I think I could really enjoy this. As I say, it's only a small one, so it's not a whole lot of time to put into this, and I could probably like smash it out in a day if I just sat and read and enjoyed it. So maybe I could do a vlog of like read a book in a day with me or something like that, to kind of keep me accountable and get this read. But I think it's going to be lovely. I really think I can enjoy this one, and then if that's the case, I might go back and potentially try out the second book of the series that I DNF'd, right? I also picked up The Witch by Marie Nidaye. I think I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. This was shortlisted on the International Booker Prize of this year, actually, 2026. It's another short one, and I think it is going to be awesome. So it's set in a small French town. A mediocre witch is trapped in a cruel marriage and cries watery tears of blood as she passes on her gifts to her twin daughters. They must soon make a choice to stay close to the nest and the mother who nourished them, or soar away from the dead-end claustrophobia their selfish father has imposed. It sounds like it could be really like feminist and empowering and sort of self-discovery, coming of age in that way. Sorry, I'm aware that it's kind of glary because I'm right by my window. So I think I could really enjoy this, and again, it can be a very good candidate for the Summerween kind of periods. Leading into the June Pride kind of vibe, we have, oh, sorry, I was just seeing the other books by this author at the end. I recognise Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. Didn't realise that was the same author. Anyway, this is by Ashley Herring Blake. This is Dream On, Ramona Riley. I picked this up because I liked the title, I liked the cover, I liked the colours, and I was like, yeah, this looks absolutely adorable. It is a small town sapphic romance, and it just sounds so, so cute. Worlds collide when a Hollywood wild child falls for a small town waitress. Like, how darling is that? I think if it was like heterosexual, I wouldn't have been near enough smitten with the idea of this, but I don't know, there's something about it that just makes me think that this is actually going to be so adorable. I think it's a little bit steamy as well. I like the back and how it describes it best. So it says, once upon a time, Ramona Riley was a student at a prestigious art school with dreams of becoming a costume designer. But now she's stuck in Clover Lake, working at the local cafe and helping take care of her younger sister, all but giving up on her dreams. So when a big budget rom-com comes to town to film, it's definitely like Hallmark, right? She wonders if this is her chance. There's only one problem. Dylan Monroe, her first kiss, and Hollywood's wild child is the star. Oh, so maybe this is like a second chance. Like, if that was her first kiss, then they must have known each other, right? Maybe at the art school, I guess. Anyway, Dylan Monroe has always lived an unconventional life, having famous rock icons for parents. But she wants to prove that she's not some talentless Nepo baby. Is it Nepo or Nepo? I never know how to pronounce that. That she actually has skills. To do that, Dylan heads to a charming lake town, working at the town's cafe, very quaint, shadowing a local waitress, very cute, and asks her to take Dylan to do normal people things. But this isn't any small town waitress she's getting to know. Ramona is someone she's met before, someone who remembers her even more vividly. Before long, reality hits and both women must decide if the spark between them can fan the flames of their individual dreams or if it will extinguish their light. I think this is going to be beautiful. This is one that I actually had as a digital library borrow a while ago, and then I didn't get around to doing it, so I just returned it. But this time I've got the physical version, and this is The Corruption of Hollis Brown by Kay Ancrum, and this sounded awesome. It's blurbed by Andrew Joseph White, who books I really need to get into. Honestly, I've got the stash over in the back over here, and he's just released that one which is like a pregnancy horror story, and that sounds fantastic. So this sounds really cool. It's like a queer horror story. It's following Hollis, who lives in this house. He's only got like a few immediate friends, and Walt, who is the ghost that begins to possess him. They begin to kind of go over the tragic and traumatic history of the house that Hollis is living in, and between kind of getting to know the house, getting to know each other, they kind of fall for each other. It sounds like it's going to be awesome. There's going to be some conversations, probably unsettling, that are peeking up about this, house. I love it when we have a haunted house that has this kind of characterization of its own. So I'm hopeful that that's going to be quite strong in this story. And yeah, it sounds fantastic. Okay, now we're going to get into kind of what I imagine to be my core Summerween TBR. Again, all of it's pretty flexible. It's just the ones that I'm more hopeful and gonna keep in mind to actually try and pick up during that period of time. I am gonna start with one that I've done it again. Let me have a sip. Hold on. So I think it's just comforting to hold, right? I am gonna start with one that I've kind of been reading for all year. Basically, I ended up buying my own copy because I was borrowing a colleague's at work, and I felt bad for having it for so long. But since buying my own copy, in my head I'm like, oh, it's mine now, I can get to it whenever. So I haven't picked it up in a while, and I've been reading other things. I was doing some reading for a book prize competition as well, so I had to put a lot of stuff on hiatus, and this is one of the ones I just haven't gotten back to. So I would like to make more of a dent in this, and I think when I get past a certain threshold, it's not as daunting as you think. At the minute, I'm in the deep depth of the text, and it's so like just stream of consciousness. Anyway, that is House of Leaves. This is the edition that I got for myself, which is absolutely gorgeous. I love that it's hardback. I feel like it just keeps to itself nicer. This is also kind of like a haunted house thing. It's a house that shouldn't be how it is. There's like an extra room that doesn't sort of make sense. It's not in any of the blueprints. And it's very meta. It's like we're following a man who has been given a whole heap of research about this house, right? The research is from another guy who has collected all this information together. He's since passed away. However, he's reviewing this movie that was made about the house from the people that lived there. But apparently that movie doesn't actually exist. Like it's not a thing. It's just so convoluted. It's interesting, but when I read it, I need to be in a state of mind where my mind is free of everything else and I can just focus on it, because it's such an intense, confusing, complex story, at least at the moment. So yeah, I really like the fact that I got this hard copy. Well, that I got this edition first and foremost because the illustrations in here, it's dotted with a few kind of pictures and stuff, but they're like it's in the appendix and stuff, they've actually got full color, which is cool. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm just going to quickly, like, it looks so much more appealing to the eye. Like I can make out things better in the full color, so that's really cool. So yeah, I am hoping to dive more into this and kind of get my teeth sunk into it more, because when I stopped reading, or when I just put it down for a bit, I'm only on like page 56. So, but do you see what I mean by it's just dense text for a long while, and then you get pages where it's like that. Do you know what I mean? So at the minute I'm at the throes of the dense text, and it's a lot to wrap my head around, but I was enjoying it as I was reading it. So after that, I think I'm also going to add to my TBR this book that I purchased through TikTok straight from the author during a live a couple of months ago. This is by P.M. Morgan. This is Black Shuck 1577, and I love mythology, folklore, legends, all of that sort of stuff. That's like one of my things that I adore, and this is set in some sort of English folklore legend about the Black Shuck, which is this like ominous dog, massive hound figure that brings, I think it brings the truth of death, like to a loved one or to yourself if you see it. So this is a story within a series called A Tale of Strange and Wonder. This is book 1, and I believe they're all kind of like closed case for each story, if that makes sense, like a different mystery and a different folklore is kind of explored. So, oh, I forgot, this one comes with a bookmark. I think I must have shown this on TikTok. A little business card, and it's signed to Jen. Thank you. I hope you enjoy. So I really can't wait to get this read, and then I can pop a review up as well, which would be cool. So this one follows Suffolk, so that's, I think, where the original folklore is set, and I have a few ties to Suffolk now, which is really nice. I would love to move there eventually, and I just loved how the author was pitching it and describing it and talking about the research that he did and his love of stories. So yeah, I was really happy to support a local indie author, so that was awesome, and I would love to get to that during these summer months. The next stash are here, so these are all books that I own, and then at the end I'll just whiz through some of the library books that might fall into this nicely. So this one I have been wanting to read for ages, because I read another book by this author digitally, I think through my library app, and it was what was it? I think it was a retelling of The Children of Lear, and I thought, oh my god, I've got to try more from this author, because that was just whimsical and magical and dark and beautiful. This is Deirdre Sullivan, Tangleweed and Brian, and just look how gorgeous this edition is. I actually think I got this 2 years ago when I went to Yauk for the first time, so oh my god, I can't believe I haven't read any of the Yauk books. How bad is that? That's just I feel guilty picking up the newer books in my collection, the older ones, but that's so bad. And then I went to Yauk last year and I bought some more books and I've still not got to them. How awful. Anyway, I want to get to this one, and this is about, hold on, someone's calling me. So this one is actually a short story collection, and it is retellings of classic fairy tales. So I'm wondering if there's going to be like the Hans Christian Andersen kind of vibes in here, retelling through like a female lens, I do believe. So I'm hoping for some feminist strength. It does say it's not for the faint-hearted or damsels in distress, so I love that. I love a damsel in distress, but I also like empowering yourself and saving yourself, so this sounds like it's going to be an awful lot of fun. I told you I love places not to go to. Actually, I would like to do like a haunted tour, but I'm also very squeamish and nervous when it comes to things like that. I've done a few things, but not like a haunted house. Anyway, I have another one here. This one was actually gifted to me by Black Crow. I was on like a book cover reveal thing. I still haven't read it yet, so I think this would be that perfect opportunity to read it. This is The Haunting at Maudsley Manor by George Morris Diarth. I think it's Diarth. Looks like death. That is his actual name. Pretty cool if you ask me. So this is about a paranormal investigator. I think they do like YouTube videos and stuff like that. It took a little bit of a career nosedive when they were at one case and most of the crew died. Eric, our main character, was left alone. His partner and his best friend, I'm not sure if they're the same person or if it's literally his partner and his best friend, both abandoned him as well. So he's like, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck? However, he is approached by a mysterious woman who has just acquired a very kind of old very clearly, definitely haunted house, who has previously like said no to the press and like any haunting investigators, but she's like, I basically want to drum up business. I think she's hoping to make it into a tour place or something, and invites him down to film there. Of course, things don't go as they should, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where this story takes us and develops. And it's again another kind of shorter read, so I think I could breeze through this and really enjoy it. I'm so behind on this particular reading journey. I have been wanting to finally try a Terry Pratchett book for ever, really, but more specifically within the like last 2 years. Literally 2 years ago I was like, oh, this is going to be the year I read Terry Pratchett, and I didn't. And I've been saying that consistently since then. So I actually really want to read some Terry Pratchett this year. I know I'm like halfway through the year already and I've still not picked it up, but the first one I wanted to start with was The Weird Sisters, and I feel like, again, this is as good a time as any to dive into it. I was thinking I'd probably try and collect like either these nice editions or just nice editions in general for the characters that I think I'm probably going to be more invested in, or that are like naturally my sort of characters that I draw to. So that is like the witches and probably death as well. The others I'll either get like, you know, the cheap trade paperback editions, which I actually am really loving the covers of, and I think I've got one for the, what's it called, the Post, I can't remember, I think it's one of the earlier ones, or I'll just borrow them from the library, listen to them, that sort of thing, depending on how I feel about their story. But I know for sure for the witches, at least, I want to get these gorgeous editions. This is the, I don't know, it's by Orion Books and Golance, which I think is like an imprint of each other, but I don't know what these actual, it just says Discworld, the Witches Collection. I don't know what the actual type of book is, but they're beautiful. Oh, and it just gets straight into the story. Love that. So yeah, I think I'm going to really enjoy this. I've also been reading like a very much kind of like a lot of Macbeth vibe things recently. So yeah, I think the idea of like threes and three witches and that sort of thing is calling to me at this moment in time. I've also got a new release, I think it's a new release anyway, I bought it recently, and it's Olivia Blake. She's got a graphic novel which I didn't even know she was doing, but this is Clara and the Devil Volume 1, and I actually think Volume 2 has recently come out. It's illustrated by a little Chimera, and it looks absolutely stunning. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be kind of sensual and like, you know, playing with the devils, how much would you sell of yourself, you know, that sort of thing. This is an absolutely stunning cover, and the illustrations throughout are gorgeous as well. It's kind of giving like watercolor vibes, but yeah, it has this fantastic feel to it. I believe the devil comes to town and wants a library card, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'm sold. It sounds awesome, and again, another kind of one sitting read that I am probably going to thoroughly enjoy, and perhaps we'll do some sort of reading vlog, whether it's on here or over on TikTok. Now this book, it's another recent purchase, and I think the other one also is another recent purchase within the last couple of months. I didn't realize this author did YA books and she writes in verse, but I saw Hecate the Witch by Nikita Gill, and I couldn't say no to this. Hecate is like one of my deities, she's my girl, and again, as I said about the witches, I love things in threes. There's like the mother maiden crone kind of vibe, and yeah, this is, I believe, her story, all about her upbringing, how she came into her magic. She's like one of the Greek goddesses, and yeah, as I say, it's like written, it's all poetry. Yeah, I think this is going to be really enjoyable as well. Oh, I'm so excited, and I have a feeling it's broken down into like 3 parts, so you follow, you know, the maiden, the mother, the crone sort of vibe, and just like the wisdom, and I think how she influences the other gods and Olympus and the underworld, and I'm getting really excited. Yeah, super excited. I've also got a bookmark in this one. I don't know what this was from. I think there was a stash of 4 for a particular book, and I can't remember what the book was for, but it says fox, and I like foxes, so I picked it up, and on the back it says adaptable, spontaneous, adventurous, quick-witted and cunning, and I don't think it was for this book. I think I just saw it on the table nearby and picked it up and added it into the book. I don't know. I think recently I've been on a bit of a retelling kick, as you can see with Tangleweed and Brian, and I recently read Ava Reid's Lady Macbeth, and I've also got The Brides here by Charlotte Cross, which is a feminist retelling of Dracula's brides, right, from their perspectives. Again, I think there might be 3 of them that we talk about here. I might be wrong with that. Maybe I just like 3s and I keep chucking it out there. But it's like a prequel of sorts to Dracula as we know it, following the women in his lives. And I think it also follows potentially Mina as the one who got away. So yeah, I'm really intrigued by this. I love everything dark and gothic, and a retelling from the feminist perspective is something that I absolutely eat up. So I think I'm going to really enjoy this. We've got a lot of feminist retellings, we've got a lot of fairy tale retellings, horror. I'm so excited. So the next books are ones that are on my never ending TBR from the library specifically that I've got in, and I'm just literally going to whiz through the titles. Might say a little bit about it, you know, nothing too crazy, won't be going into depth. But I've got Jennifer Killick's The Serial Chillers, The Witch in the Woods, which will definitely be perfect for this. A Town of Sinister Secrets, Devilish Disappearances and Murderous Mysteries. I have read The Crater Lake, I want to say their duology by this author, and had a great time. I thought it was really fun. We've also got a map, so that's always something to enjoy. I've got a sequel to The Monsters of Rookhaven by Padraig Kenny. This is The Shadows of Witchhaven. It's like a middle grade. The other one also is like a middle grade children's fiction story, and I adored the first book of this. Yeah, I read that maybe like 2 years ago, and I've been meaning to get to the second book for the longest time. I want to say they might be a duology as well, but it's like a house of like monstrous creatures that protect the town, but the town's also frightened of them, and we're following a young girl, and she's trying to find her place because she doesn't feel like she fits in with the humans, and she doesn't feel like she fits in with the quote-unquote monsters. And yeah, it's awesome. I really like the first one. I'll probably need to refresh, like just read through my review and look up some other videos and stuff before I go into that one, because some of the details are a little bit hazy for me. I've also got these 2 graphic novels. We've got The Trees Volume 1 and 2. I'm also wanting to read these for another video where I talk about some like eco nature horror that I've read recently, and I think this will fit nicely into it as well. It's about like an alien invasion almost, but the beings that come down are like very plant-based. I want to say they take over humans because we don't seem to be sentient to them. Yeah, it sounds really cool. I love that, the idea that us who think we're like the highest in the food chain, like there's something else that thinks we're like a speck of nothing. I think that sounds so cool and mildly alarming. I've also got another collection of some modern horror. This is Of the Flesh, and I say it's like a plethora of authors in here. You've got Lucy Rose, Lionel Shriver, who else have we got? Bridget Collins, like a mixed Mariana Enriquez. There's a mixed bag in here. Amelia Hart. There's some really interesting authors that all have contributed to this story, so this might be fun as well. Oh my god, there's a graphic novel in the middle of it. That's so cool. Yeah, I think I'll probably end up also including this in like a read a book in a day with me sort of thing, maybe like a series, because although it might not be read a book in a day, I can read a short story in a day. Do you know what I mean? So that might work. I've got to listen back and write all these notes down later. This one I feel like we've spoken about recently on TikTok. Why can't I speak? This is Children of Paradise by Camilla Gradova, and I remember it being about this like older cinema in like the basement somewhere that I think they're trying to hang on and keep it going, but this girl that really wants to work there because everyone seems cool and aloof, and that she falls into it and finds out why they're all so like kind of distant and what's going on sort of down there. It sounds really creepy. I like the sound of it. I've also got On Sundays She Picked Flowers by Yaya Schofield. This one sounded really cool. It says here, who knows upon what soil they fed their hungry thirsty roots. Another small one as well. Then this one, I was excited because when this came out I saw that it was like Blurred by Jordan Peele, and I love his horror movies. This is by Clay McLeod Chapman, Wake Up and Open Your Eyes. Thought I would add a little bit of dark romance maybe into this Summerween TBR, because you've got the toxicity in like oftentimes the main male characters. So I've got Sadie Kincaid's Dante, and I have Neva Altaj, Painted Scars. And they're both like the first in a series, I do believe. And the last 3 books are another set of graphic novels which are within a series. I've read the first one already of this and I loved it. This is We Only Find Them When They're Dead. This is volume 2 and volume 3. I want to say there might be 4 volumes to this and then it's complete. Might be wrong there. This one's set in space and they're harvesting dead gods, but our main character and the crew that he's on wants more to life, and he's kind of bestowed this mission on him and his team to find a live god and find out what happens. And then lastly, what could be potentially included in the TBR is Futility by Nuzo Ono, Murder Revenge Soup, crackling with wit. This is a monstrous, gleeful, bitingly funny tale of murder, body swapping and bloody vengeance. This is described as the queen of African horror, which sounds super cool. Oh my god, it sounds awesome. So we have got so much to pick for the Summerween months and just for some happy reading in general over the summertime. I cannot wait to dive into some of these stories and just really like sink my teeth into them. I really hope I enjoy each and every one, of course. And if you have read any of these yourselves, do let me know what your thoughts were, what you rated them. I need to know what your plans are for the summer period if you're joining in with Summerween. I know there are some prompts like Instagram prompts and just general prompts to tick off for your TBR. I'm just casually reading it. I think if I tick off anything sort of accidentally, that'll be great. Some might fall into some categories more than others. Do you know what I mean? So if it happens, it happens, but I'm kind of just using it to join in with the celebration of spooky reads during the hot season, when I need to cool down and be freaked the fuck out. So thank you so much for staying with me this long, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have stayed this long, chuck some bats in the comments. I'd love to see that. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in another video soon. Bye.